Hey everybody, I'm Joe Linder with Joe's Phenomenal and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be making garlic parmesan crusted tilapia with pineapple mango salsa. So you ready? Let's get into this. Just be careful, this gets really slippery. So let's check on those. Makes it a lot easier to get this thing off for you as well. All right, so tilapia fillets are typically pretty thin. So what you're gonna wanna do on this recipe is you're gonna wanna do all your sides and accompaniments first, and you're gonna wanna bake the fish last. Because at the end of the day, the tilapia only takes 10 to 12 minutes or so to cook, and if you don't have all your sides done first, you're gonna run out of time and be scrambling. So your first step would be to go ahead and get your oven preheated to 400 degrees. And while we're waiting for that, you can go ahead and make your salsa. If you don't have your rice cooked off yet, then you're probably gonna wanna get that done first before you start anything else, because that takes about an hour or so to do. If you've never cooked rice or haven't done it in a while, I linked a short 1-minute video above that'll get you headed in the right direction. With that being said, let's get started on the salsa. Okay, this salsa is pretty straightforward. We got our cucumbers. Got our pineapple. Got our mango chunks, a little fresh minced cilantro, have a little bit of salt. Normally for something like this we'd use sugar, but instead I'm using a little bit of this Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. It's 0 calorie. It's a little bit like stevia, but doesn't have the aftertaste. This stuff tastes exactly like sugar and has the same texture as it too. Next we add a tiny bit of cayenne pepper and a little bit of lemon juice. You're just gonna wanna mix that really good and then set it aside. I would put this in the refrigerator until you're ready to use it, because you don't want anything to change in color. Next up, we want to go ahead and prep our fish. So there's 2 ways you can do this. I'm using a little bit of egg here. You can take a couple of eggs, beat them up, and use that to coat your fish before you season it. Or you can use a little bit of olive oil. In our case, we're going to go ahead and use the beaten eggs here.
Oh shit! I said over easy!
It's going to have a little bit lower calorie, a little bit lower fat, a little bit higher protein that way. But you'll get similar results. Now for our seasoning, we have a combination of Parmesan cheese, a little bit of granulated garlic, salt, pepper, a little bit of parsley, a little bit of oregano, and a little bit of paprika. First we're gonna dip the fish in the egg, and then we're gonna let all the excess egg run off. Then we're gonna dip it in our mix, and then we're gonna stick it on a sheet pan. Just be careful, this gets really slippery. Just make sure you try to get a nice, even coat on everything here. After you've done a few of these, your mix here is going to start getting a little wet and clumpy, so take that into consideration, because you want to make sure you get this evenly coated on both sides. Once we have them on our baking sheet, then we're ready to bake. Just be sure that you line it with a little bit of aluminum foil and you spray that with some non-stick cooking spray. Once your oven's preheated, it's time to get these bad boys in there. And I want to put that in the center rack, number 400 degrees. And you're going to want to cook it until the fish is light and flaky. It's not going to take all that long, so you got to keep an eye on it. For the rice, I decided to keep it pretty simple. We're just using a little bit of white calrose rice. And we're going to mix in a little bit of this dry hondashi fish flake and a tiny bit of sesame seed here. Once you have that in there, just get everything combined and evened out. Be careful not to smush the rice though. You don't want to do that. We're not putting a ton of flavor into the rice, but remember, we're going to get a lot of that flavor from everything else on the plate. So we don't want this to overwhelm everything else. And once you have that done, we can just sort of set this aside until our fish is ready to go.
5 minutes later.
Okay, they've been in about 10 minutes. Let's check on those. And that looks exactly the way we want it. So it's time to take those out and get these plated up. Hey, by the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. Alright, so for the rice, I'm going to use a tart tin here, and I'm going to use that to squash the rice in there and kind of form it to this shape. Okay. When you're putting the rice into this tin, just remember you want to fill it up and you want to form it, but you don't want to annihilate it and squash the stuff into oblivion either. So you want to just get just as much as you got to have in there to form it into the shape that you want. And that's it. If you line the tart pan with a little bit of nonstick, it'll help this come out of here a lot easier for you as well. Also, if you use one of these tart pans that has the removable bottom, it makes it a lot easier to get this thing off for you as well.
Whoa.
All right, next we have our fish. Doesn't that look good? And then it's time for our salsa. A little decoration there. And a little garnish.
Oh my God, it's so pretty. It's so pretty, bro. Look at it.
Tilapia is definitely one of those fish that's just not great out of the package. It really needs a little bit of help. And I think this recipe really makes it shine. In fact, if you've ever had tilapia before, let me know what your experience was with it down in the comments below. If you didn't like it before, if you try this recipe out, I guarantee you're gonna like it now. All the ingredients for this recipe are down in the description area of the video, along with the calories, protein, fat, and carbohydrate value as well. If you'd like to know a little bit more about Joe's Phenomenal, we welcome you to watch a couple more videos or visit us online at joesphenomenal.com. We thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching the video, and hope to see you back here again really soon. Once again, my name is Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.